Welcome to the Digging Deep podcast, where we offer bereavement bites for time-pressed professionals. I'm your host, Heather Kiteley, the President and CEO for GFD. On today's episode, we have Rebecca Kitt, the General Manager of Woodlawn Memorial Park Cemetery in Guelph, Ontario. Rebecca started working at Woodlawn just over 3 years ago, but before that, she worked in the municipal cemetery for 23 years, so she got tons of experience. In high school, she was interested in working in the bereavement sector as a funeral director, but struggled with the inevitability of dealing with the difficult responsibilities beyond planning and executing funerals. I find that really fascinating. Yeah. At 18 years old, she began working at the municipal cemetery. Okay, you're the second person that I've interviewed whose mom secured her a job as a summer student.
Isn't that so funny?
At a cemetery. Like two people whose mom said, "Oh, why don't you work at the cemetery?"
How is that like a thing? My mom chose
it's
this.
fascinating to me.
Yeah.
It's like funeral directors' kids and cemetery moms. I don't know. I think we should have like a club or something for you guys. So that summer job, of course, included working on general grounds maintenance. 26 years after working at cemeteries doing ground maintenance, customer service, managing kind of everything, she's still been able to work with families and fulfill her passion for service and compassion. Outside work, she's a dedicated mother to her 5-year-old son and enjoys focusing her time on her at-home vegetable garden. I admire that. She was even a competitive dancer until the age of 25. That's awesome. Our topic today is managing family conflicts at cemeteries. Rebecca has a ton of experience there and can handle pretty much any conflict through showing kindness and empathy to the families that she serves. Welcome, Rebecca. I'm so excited that you're
Thanks
here.
for having me. I know I listened to that and I'm like, wow, I have been in this a long time.
My opening line is like, I've been doing this for 100 years now. So.
It feels like it.
It
honestly does. But those student days feels like it was just yesterday.
And I think the wonderful thing about you is that you bring, like, even though you've been doing it for a long time, you bring just this freshness and passion to the work that is really inspiring, right?
Well, when you love what you do, it's not a job.
Yeah, it's
you know? So I feel like, I just have such a passion for what we do and the families that we serve. And I'm hoping to continue to inspire my team members and hopefully have that spread. So and being here at the conference, just having conversations with colleagues from other cemeteries, it really reignites that passion too.
Yeah, because there's so many interesting things that are going on. Okay, so if anyone is listening, I just want to make sure that we all heard what you said, which is when you work at something that you love. And so if there are people who are listening who are thinking, oh, I don't know if funeral service is a thing for me, I don't know if I should get into the bereavement sector. Like, I spend my days talking to people who are super passionate about the work that they do. So what a wonderful career and what a wonderful space, which is not our topic today, but I felt that since you brought it forward.
It's so important. You have to love what you do. You have to love what you do because then you'll never work a day in your life.
Yeah,
I love that. I love that. I've heard that saying so many times. And I'm like, yep. And the minute I don't love it anymore, I move on to something else. Honestly, I'll probably just go sit back on the mower again.
Or in the background.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay, let's dig into our topic today.
Okay.
So I come from a funeral service background, second generation funeral director, 20 years frontline service. I had no idea about the challenges that the cemeteries have. And it wasn't until I attended an OACFP small cemetery event probably about a decade ago where I walked out of there with this realization of, oh my God. So we have difficult families sometimes for 5 days, maybe 6 or 7, and you have them forever.
And then you bring them to the cemetery where they live forever.
I know. So let's start with that. What are the common challenges? What are the things that you struggle with on the cemetery space?
I think for sure the number one issue is family expectations. Families just have this idea that cemeteries are a place where they can do whatever they want, whenever they want.
Because they feel ownership over that
they
space.
Feel
Is
the
that
ownership,
why?
yes,
Okay.
and that's where it's our job as the cemeterians to educate families from the start on what they're purchasing. Right, you're not purchasing the piece of property; it's not your property. You're purchasing in terms.
I think that most people do think it is their. Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Of property,
well,
right?
that's my property. I can do what I want. Well, okay, well then you need to maintain it.
Interesting, right?
Yeah.
So what are with that sense of ownership? How does that create problems?
Yeah, so I mean, and you have to remember that people are coming in and they're making these arrangements under duress. They're making a lot of decisions with recent loss in mind. So they're making emotionally based decisions. A lot of times they're making maybe financial decisions that aren't right for them either.
Right.
And getting themselves into, purchasing something that, maybe a year down the road or even a week later, they're realizing, this is not what I wanted. But
Right.
once a burial takes place, very challenging to undo that. So,
Right. Which totally, we just have to talk for 2 seconds about
Yeah.
how that means it's so important for us to educate families on how they can make these decisions beforehand. But
Exactly.
let's not digress.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You have to sit down when you're in that initial meeting, as hard as it is sometimes to go through the terms and conditions and list all of those important details. Because families don't want to hear it. They're not.
And
They're not
even listening,
absorbing
right?
it.
They
No, they're not
can't.
absorbing
Yeah.
it.
It's
So
not that they
that's-
don't want to, it's just that you
They
physiologically can't.
No,
Yeah.
because typically they've just been to the funeral home. They've made all those decisions.
They're exhausted by the
They're
time they get
exhausted.
to you. Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
sell me a plot and get me out of here.
Yeah. Yeah.
But those are very important pieces. So I think our job is to continually educate families and educate the public on what they're getting into. And I think the Consumer Information Guide is a really great tool that the BAO's put out, because that
Hey,
has
plug
a
for the
lot of the
BAO.
very good,
Yeah.
it just has everything that they need. I wish that more people would have that document in hand before experiencing a loss.
Right.
But I mean, a lot of the common challenges are surrounding the fact that they want to decorate their lot, they want to memorialize their loved one how they want to. Sure, we've given them the bylaws. Who's going to read cemetery bylaws? I mean, I have to redo our bylaws this year, and I'm really...
And you don't even want to read them.
I don't even want to do it. It's
love it,
so
right?
painful. It's so
Well,
painful.
if you're having a hard time getting to sleep,
It's
you know,
legal.
you can pull them
it's
out.
it's a real humdinger. So,
Yeah.
so I get it, but it's our job to say, just so you know, some of the challenges that we see other families having is, and just give them a few of the most frequently broken bylaws, bylaw infractions that we see on a regular basis, and just give them those little tidbits right off the hop. Doesn't matter. They're going to do what they want anyway. So then, we are unfortunately in the position of having to enforce those bylaws.
Right.
And so when we go to the lot and you remove the decorations, or you scale back the size of their flower bed, or when they come in to order a monument and we say, well, no, you bought a flat marker lot, you can't have a monument.
Right.
Oh my gosh, it's you can just see the shock on their face. They had no idea.
Because you can't undo it. I mean, you
No.
can undo it, but it's
Yeah,
not
it's
easy
very
to
hard.
undo.
We have one right now that
Really?
bought a few years ago, just did the cremated remains interment in June.
Yeah.
Came to order the foundation for their monument, or pay for the foundation, and we
It's
had
a
to
flat
tell
marker.
them, I'm so sorry, but you've purchased a flat marker lot, you can't have a monument. Absolutely not having a flat marker for mom. So we're going through the process of disinterring cremated remains, switching lots, so new contract. So it just
And
goes
so
to
many
show.
complications for you, right? Like not just. I imagine the public might think, oh, that's an easy thing to do. You just dig
Yeah,
them up and away you go.
no.
But
Yeah.
depending on what kind of urn they're interred
Yep.
in, and
Yeah, we never
that's-
want to go. I mean, there's the operation side, the disinterment for sure, but administratively as well. It is a bit of a process, right? We're dealing with care and maintenance funds that we can't retrieve now that
Right.
they've been deposited. So I can't get that money back for you. So you're not
I hadn't even
getting
thought
what
about
you
that.
thought, right? You're not
Yeah,
getting
yeah.
the full refund that you thought for that lot. So it's also very costly. So these decisions that people are making are sometimes very costly if they don't make the right decision. So.
Wow.
Yeah, so biggest challenge, just not people not understanding cemetery operations and why we have to have bylaws in place.
Right.
But I always spin it to people. I'm like, okay, this is beautiful. You've decorated your lot beautifully. It's very tasteful. It's really lovely. What if the person right next to you decided to come and put up Christmas lights and a flashing banner and flags, or something that you don't agree with? Maybe you're going to be really upset, and you're going to come into the office and you're going to say, why are you letting this happen? It's like, well, I let you do what you wanted to do, so now I have to let everybody do what they want to do.
And that helps with the
Yes,
conversation. a
it
little bit,
does.
right?
It really,
it's like,
because
oh,
they don't think outside of their their own grief. Yes, yeah, their own plot. Stay in your own plot. So that really helps. It just helps, again, to educate people. You know, these bylaws are in place for you and for everybody. It's there for safety of our team, safety of our visitors. You have a whole bunch of glass things on your lot, and those break, and one of our summer crew comes along with a weed eater. That piece of glass flies out into somebody's face while they're walking down the road. Like, there's just a lot of things that people don't think about. Like, we're a business, we're an operation, we're a landscape operation.
Well, and you have to make, or at least try to make everyone happy. And I think we talked in the beginning before we started recording about how, like, you just have to come to the realization that you can't make everyone happy,
just
right?
Can't.
But
no.
Let's dig into that for a second, because you have at your cemetery all cultures, all faiths, people of all, like, pretty much every single flavor of human that you could possibly encounter in the world is buried in your cemetery. And we know that there's cultural conflicts. We know that there's challenges. I know the BAO put out a notice to the profession the other day saying, hey, listen, there's some conflicts in the world. We want to make sure that, and we know that those conflicts have caused problems in cemeteries in other countries. Let's keep an eye on that. How do you, like when I think about that, and I think about the work that you have to do and our cemetery friends have to do, it kind of just blows my mind a little bit to think, like, where do you even start? So yes, you have bylaws, but bylaws are your rules. How do you handle the human side?
I mean, and you know, like I said, when we first were chatting, there are some families you just have to realize you're not going to make them happy.
Do you have a story about that?
Oh gosh, and you know what? It was right after I came to Guelph too. It was one of the first things.
Awesome.
And my first experience with the BAO also being somebody tattletaled on me because they just weren't happy. So
the complaint to the BAO.
The complaint to the BAO, and it wasn't until we just started talking that I remember this. I'm like, oh my gosh. So
you probably blocked it out.
I totally blocked it out. That file is so buried.
People don't realize the human cost of these kinds of things, right? Like, I think it's easy for people to sort of look at cemetery bureaucracy, or you would be like a bureaucrat at the cemetery, and you obviously are not a human. But the toll of that on you emotionally and your staff is so stressful.
I really don't like disappointing families. I got into this business because of my empathy and my compassion for families at the worst time in their life. So when a family accuses me of not caring, or you don't understand, as if I've never had loss in my life. It's a punch to the gut, because it's like, no, I actually really care. That's why I'm here. This gentleman, a Greek family, side by side monuments, had glass lanterns in front of his monuments against the bylaws. The team brought it to my attention. They're like, look, if these stay here, we can't even get equipment past here if we need to get in there and do a burial. It's has to be removed. So anyways, we removed these lanterns. Didn't take long. And just like phone calls, then the lawyer called me, letter from the lawyer, letter from friends, and then...
Welcome to your new job.
Oh my God, I know, it was awful. I quit. You know what, though? I look at every challenge as an opportunity for learning and growth. And so as stressful as it is and as scary as that situation was, because when you're getting a phone call from the BAO,
or a lawyer, right?
Well, the lawyer thing,
It's not like we're trained in law as professionals, and we want to serve people and make them happy. So it's like, right? So tell me, how did you work through that? What was the end result?
The BAO obviously read our bylaws, said, yep, you're absolutely within your bylaws. Yep, full support from the BAO side. And again, this entire time, I'm saying to this gentleman, I completely understand and I sympathize with you. And at the end of the day, your memorial dealer has a set of our bylaws, and they shouldn't actually have let you purchase these in the first place. How can we work with you? We sell memorialization at the cemetery. Let us kind of customize your monument so that you can put your lanterns where they belong within the bylaws. It's not that you can't have them. They're just supposed to be part of your monument so that they're not sticking out. Didn't want to work with us on that, and kind of continued. I mean, it went on for some time. At the end of the day, we stuck to the bylaws. I couldn't make an exception, because then I have to do it for everybody.
Yeah. And the safety of your staff and the safety of everyone that comes in the cemetery has to take precedent, right?
Yeah, and you know what? I think for myself, and I've had some really great leaders in the past that I've learned from, going out on the grounds with him and having conversations and asking him about, it was his parents' lot, and then his sister was buried nearby, and just getting to know him and ask him questions about his family, and just saying, I feel terrible. I feel terrible that this is happening to you, and just having, again, that human side, that compassionate side. So at the end of the day, I know I didn't make him happy in that regard, but as kind of an unspoken truce. So he had these lanterns, and he also had this Rose of Sharon tree that he had planted
so
at
invasive.
the lot.
Yeah.
I was
my
like,
goodness, I have one in my yard.
You're
You're
not supposed to have that either.
Yes.
So the team had to take that out. That was his mother's favorite plant, the Rose of Sharon. So of course I feel doubly terrible, right? Because Anyway, so what I decided, and I didn't want to make a big production out of it or anything, but there was some empty space very close to his lot. So I just talked with our very talented horticulture and forestry team, and I said, can we choose a variety of Rose of Sharon that would work for our landscape and place it near his lot? And that's kind of my way of saying, I see you, I hear you, I understand, here's a tribute to your mom. So that was kind of my way of, I can't give you what you want, but here's me saying, I understand and I sympathize. So I feel like that's all I could do.
And how did it work out?
So we actually haven't planted it yet. I wanted to wait to make sure that there was no rebuttal.
Right.
And so it has been, it's probably been about a year and a half.
Hopefully
2
over
years.
time,
Yeah.
I can, listening to you even telling the story, I can imagine that it is deeply painful for you, because you want your cemetery to be a place where somebody comes and they're not ticked off about something that has to do with your cemetery. You want them to come and have a place of reflection, and your cemetery is like beautiful.
It is,
right? And a place of peace. So it must have been really difficult.
So hard. It eats away at me every time I have to do that, because for me, I grew up a cemetery visitor, lots of loved ones buried at my previous place of employment, and so I was that person. I decorated, I planted, so when this became my career, I have that human side. I have that, I understand why you're doing this. I understand why you need to do this. We just have to keep it within what you're allowed. So one of my tricks, again, learned from previous leadership, don't continue to tell them what they can't do. Because that's just like, hammering at home. It's just very insensitive feeling to them. Tell them what they can do. So although you're not permitted that, what you can have is this, this, and this. So you can still memorialize the way that you want, just within these boundaries. So I actually had another situation. This lady, she had this massive flower bed because her husband and her mom were buried near each other, right beside each other. She made this I'm just gonna join these lots myself. I made this huge flower bed. Anyways, my solution for that was, because again, we have bylaws for that, so we had to reduce the size of the flower bed. Some of the plant material wasn't permitted. So I said, you know what we're gonna do? Because I know this was a lot of work for you, but if we let it stay, everybody's gonna see this and they're gonna think that this is okay, and then we're just gonna have...
you're gonna have it everywhere.
So we offered we're gonna redo this all for you. We're gonna go out, we're gonna redo the flower bed for you. We're gonna give you a year of our flower bed service. So we're gonna plant the plants, we're gonna maintain them, we're gonna work this, gave her a full flower bed program for the year so that she could see you can still have a beautiful tribute to your family within the bylaws, right?
Yeah.
And that worked out great.
And she was
happy. She was quite happy with that. And then it's so funny how you through these situations, you can really build relationships with these people
It
that
can be an
start out so
opportunity,
tumultuous, and then you just end up, you have that, you get that mutual respect.
Right.
You're not going to get that every time,
Yeah.
but it's so lovely to build those relationships.
And conflict is so often an opportunity to build relationship. And I
It
don't think we all look at it that way,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But imagine you go into conflict thinking, hey, this is an opportunity to build relationship. Then
Absolutely.
the outcome might be a little bit different.
Yeah.
So unsurprisingly, we are out of time because
Yeah.
these things go so fast. And I think, first of all, thank you for sharing your experience. I think the key takeaway for me and for anyone who's listening who is in a similar situation as you, that advice of just tell them what you can do.
Yeah, tell them what you can do. Don't
keep talking
focus
about what
on
you can't.
the don'ts and the can'ts, and keep that empathy and that compassionate side. But remember you still have to enforce your bylaws.
Yeah. You still have a cemetery to run,
You
right?
still have
and
a
you still have
cemetery to
how
run.
many other thousands of people that you have to look after.
Exactly.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
If you say yes to one person, you have to say yes to them all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true. Rebecca, you are such an incredible professional, so inspiring.
Thank you.
Just really appreciate your honesty and coming in and sort of bearing your soul to us
Yeah,
about the
thank
challenges
you.
that you have.
I appreciate this. Yeah, thank you so much.
It's wonderful to
Yeah,
have you. And
thanks.
so this concludes this episode of the Digging Deep podcast. Rebecca, you're just amazing. Thank
Thanks,
you so much.
Heather.
I know
Thanks
we'll
for
have
having
you
me.
back.
Yeah,
Thanks so much.
thanks.
I'm your host, Heather Kiteley. Thank you for those folks who are listening, and we will see you in the next episode.